All right. I think we have a quorum. Welcome. Thank you, everybody, for getting ready to do this on a Saturday morning. So this is the Montessori Peaks Academy Board of Directors special meeting Saturday, November 14 at, let's call it at 9:07 a.m. And Lisa, can you do the roll call?
Yes, I sure can. We have Jack Llewellyn, Brandon Smith, Brittany Horseman, myself, Lisa Myers, Christina Grant, Beth McDonald. I see Becky Springstead, Robin Morrissey, and I believe that's it. Yes. And so if there's any type of vote called or anything, that's the order I'll call. We'll call in. Thank you.
All right. First of all, let's, as we usually do, at least pay notice to our Montessori Peaks Academy mission statement. And then I understand that we may have some community comments, even though we did not list that on the agenda. So to the extent to which we would like to hear those community comments, and I'm looking for Robin to acknowledge, yes, we can either just allow them to go forward, or we can vote to amend the agenda to allow for community comments, whichever way people feel more comfortable with.
Hey, Jack, just technically wise or technology wise, if Rob, I don't know who's got the people that want to speak, but they would just forward the Zoom link then to this new Zoom link this morning. Is that how you want to do it?
Robin?
I'm fine with that. I also have letters that I can read.
Okay.
That people have submitted. I can also summarize as well because they're saying mostly the same thing. So whatever the board would prefer.
I gotta let my dog out. Continue.
Just when Brittany comes back, let's go ahead and amend the agenda just to be clear, and let's also, Lisa, if you can note that in addition to amending the agenda to include community comments, let's make sure that in what's listed as item 2, response to Jeffco, public school remote learning plan, that can include a vote if and as necessary.
Yes. I move we amend our agenda to include community comments, and under section 2, response to Jeffco restart plan, that can allow any type of vote today.
Second.
All right. Roll call. Jack Llewellyn.
Yes.
Brandon Smith.
Yes.
Brittany Horseman.
Yes.
Lisa Myers. Yes. Christina Grant.
Yes.
Beth McDonald.
Yes.
Becky Springstead.
Yes.
And Robin Morrissey.
Yes.
All right. With that, Robin, if you want to take the floor, and we can kind of do it however you think is best. If there's one in particular that you want to read, and then say the rest are kind of the same, or how, you've seen them, we haven't, so I'll leave it to your discretion.
Yeah, I'll read one that was specifically directed at you guys, or at us, at the board, and then I'll just kind of add to that. So
I'm not sure I like stuff being directly aimed at us.
Yeah.
Well, it's very well stated. So it says, good morning, board members. First, I would like to thank you for your valued dedication and the time that you graciously invest in MPA. Next, I extend my deepest appreciation to Robin for taking the effort and time to represent us as her peers. Oh wait, maybe I like this one because never mind. Just joking. Furthermore, I would like that I clearly and firmly believe that in-person is what we need to do for our children. With that said, I write to you today to respectfully implore you to agree with Jeffco's district call to make Friday, November 20th a no student contact day. The educators at MPA need this time to communicate its themes, synthesize and prepare the quality lessons and materials that distinguishes MPA from the rest of the area schools. So much of 2020 has been a wait and see, and the decisions are made to be followed with the expectations to fervently spring into action. Often it feels as little, no consideration or thought or much effort and time is given to take to our academic staff to make it all possible. Much of our personal time and after school hours have been used to provide our in-person and remote learners the quality Montessori education along with the safest environment possible that they deserve. I leave you with these words that I respect what a wise person told me so many times. We choose this profession of teaching, not for the money, not for the glory. We choose it because we are passionate. We choose it because our children are the better future. Please give us Friday, November 20th as a day to better prepare our future for our remote learning upon returning from Thanksgiving break. Please give us this well-deserved week of rest, family gatherings, if they choose, and gratitude as it is intended to be. In peace, and I will leave her anonymous. But I think generally in looking over everyone's emails, it was just, we're spending a lot of hours here, 80 to 90 hours a week sometimes, and you know, that's part of some professions, but I think we really want to make sure that we're not being present for our students when we're in the room. Even one of my students the other day said to me, "What are you even thinking about, Miss Robin?" And I was like, "Oh, well," he almost picked up like I was not present. So I think it just, the teachers wanted to communicate that they would really like a planned day. What that looks like, I don't know. I just, you know, they're already taking their personal time, and I think that they just really needed to communicate to the board that they need that day to prepare. So that, I think, summarizes what and I feel like that my peers would feel that was well communicated.
Anybody have any comments or anything they want to discuss with Robin before we move it over to Brian?
Are all the comments just about the 20? Oh, sorry, Beth. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. Go ahead. I can go after you.
Were all the comments just about the 20th?
Yes, mainly about just needing a plan day to be able to be present with the children in the classroom when they're there, and have a day where we can really wrap our minds around going remote again. Because I think in the spring, a lot of us felt like we were really not present with kids, and we were trying to get things thrown together. And I think if we could just have that, you know, that time and space. I don't know the 20th is the answer. I think that that's what the staff is feeling, but I don't know that that's necessarily the day that we need. I defer to you guys.
There was no talk about after the 20th, like remote learning or when that happens or anything like that. Did anybody share any thoughts with you on that?
Yeah, there was two people that had shared about the 4-day versus the 5-day, and we really do want to be in person with our students. And that's easier said for primary and upper because we have remote teachers that are taking a lot of that off. But I think Lower L is feeling, Lower L is feeling that they're spending a lot of time at school, and they might need to be in that 4-day-a-week model. But I don't know that we need to even really go there at this point because the JEFCO board isn't there, and you know, we're not even looking at that model at this point, but there was some mention of that.
So that's kind of my question. I was just wondering, I mean, JEFCO's going fully remote even with the younger kids, right, on the 30th? And so the teacher consensus is that they still would like to do in-person from the 30th through Christmas break? Is that kind of the feeling you're getting? As long as we could maybe shorten it to a 4-day in-person and 1-day?
Oh, no, I think we follow JEFCO on
Okay.
this decision.
Okay.
That's what
That
I'm
was
hearing
my
from the staff on this decision. Yeah, we follow JEFCO. But I think moving forward, if FEFCO does decide to go through the 4-day-a-week thing, I think we might want to follow them as well with that. At least that's my perspective from the staff.
Did they share thoughts about why? Just some background about what their, how they came to that preference?
Well, again, I think primary and upper L are in a different mind state because we aren't having to do the double duty. I think lower L is really,
Okay.
I mean, they're there a lot. So I think that they're feeling like they need some support.
Okay, well, and thank you, Robin. I really do appreciate that. I think let's move it over to Brian, but let's for now focus on next week, and then what do we do on the 30th, and worry about what happens if we go back in person when we get there. If we get
agreed,
there.
Jack. Yep,
Okay.
completely agree.
Jack,
Yep.
Before Brian, can you just synthesize? I'm not sure where we're at. I'm not sure what what we're considering now, because I didn't know. Has the decision already been made to follow Jeffco on the 30th? Can you just?
No, that's why we're here.
Can I make a presentation first?
Okay. Okay. I just wanted to know what we're deciding or whatever, and then I can kind of hear what everyone's saying.
Let me give an overview.
Okay.
I'm also addressing those comments anyway.
Okay.
That's what people don't know is what I know.
Got it.
But everybody wants to know what I know, but they don't want to know what I know. So anyway.
Okay.
I want to know.
Can I get my screen to share? I think you got the setup that way.
Yeah, go ahead and share your screen, and I will.
There we go. All right. Since Monday, things have really changed now, especially here. We see the hurricane coming, friends. Yesterday was the highest number of COVID cases in the state, and that's what they can test. Okay, we just got to keep that in mind. So a little bit of the boasting I did last Monday is soon old news. Okay, we have the most kids sent out for COVID testing this week, the highest number of family quarantines. We're in a lot of 48-hour holds right now. A lot of staff members on 48-hour holds this weekend. I don't even know how many staff are going to return on Monday. That's just where Amy and we find out from the staff over the weekend where we're at with health. So it's ramping up. I think it's one of those things, if you know a hurricane's coming, you're not boarding up the windows at the 180 mile an hour mark, you know. And I feel that it took a long time coming, but the data is showing us this is a high risk occupation now. We had about 4 staff members out last week, and so if you kind of go down here, we only have so much staff capacity. So inside the building on any given day, if someone gets sick or we just don't have a person, we only have 1 or 2 people that we can slide in and try to cover a class. And that's not even covering, say, credential wise, okay, if they're a lead or something. It's just a person to go in and help. Reserve, that's what we call our guest teachers. We started with 9 or 10, we're really down to 3, and that's if they're available. So the minute we start having 4 or 5 staff out, we're not operating anymore. So we have to, that's what's coming. I don't see how in the world we would ever open on November 30th. And I brought this up at my charter group, all the principals. I said, I would have to start, Amy and I would have to start on Saturday after Black Friday and find out who is healthy on a holiday week, who's healthy to even start the school, because I would hate, it would just be bad leadership if I wanted to start the school on November 30th and I only have 50% staff report, okay? And it would be bad leadership to say, hey parents, it's Sunday night, we're gonna scrap everything you know about open schools and we're gonna pivot. So the storm is here, we see it. It's impacting our building. We've just been really good, but every every time another district closes, Littleton is closing, Douglas County, we have staff members who have children in these districts. So we have to remember, staff are parents first, their wives or husbands first, and an MPA employee second. A lot of kids think we live here. And as you heard Robin, some teachers do. They live here too much. But with that in mind, I don't, and I said this on Monday, I think our biggest issue is just who's available to run classrooms in the future. So we're recommending pivoting, just like Jeffco, for those 3 weeks. We're at the height. I don't even think we're at the height of the pandemic. I think we're going to see that sometime in December. If you look at the data, there's always, after a holiday, there's always a spike marker in the data. I don't know what a whole week off is going to do with holiday, but we'll wait and see. What we're thinking, and here's why we're keeping the 20th, is in-person days are valuable now. We've been doing in-person since early September. And I met with Roundtable. We just kind of thought, let's keep as many in-person days as we can, because once we go to remote, there is no guarantee when we'll return. I know the district says we'll return after first of the year, but you notice they didn't give a date. That's because, again, you're coming off of a major holiday. And I echo the frustration of the governor in that we're at the mercy of human behavior at this point. So every in-person day that we can salvage and keep is good, with the idea of we need a pivot day. And I've been creating a plan behind the scenes. Whoops, wrong one. And it's our transition to remote learning. So Roundtable will work on this on Monday. And again, it just addresses, you have to have a startup day. We never had that back in the spring. We shut down on a Friday and we pivot on a Monday. We're not doing that again. To go from in-person learning to remote, we need a pivot day. So we're thinking the 30th, and there's a couple reasons for the 30th. Again, who's healthy, who's not, to even do a remote day. So we just need a day after a major holiday. It makes way more sense on the back end to see how we're going to get things up and rolling, give people a break, and off we go. A lot of plans are set, but we just need to know where we're at that day. So that's one idea. We could do the 20th as well, but we just have to reverse our communications. We would like to start preschool on the 30th. We have all next week to plan for that. Amy and I met with Jill and Robin yesterday, so we got parent information. I'll get to that part later. So we're thinking we can start preschool. Staff will have to determine whether they're in the building or out of the building during a remote time. Remember, I said a lot of staff, they're parents first, so they might have to work at home. Children can come to the school, but they're not allowed to walk around the school. They have to be in the teacher's classroom for that entire time, things like that. So there is some allowances on what Jeffco is doing to bring and help teachers who are also parents, okay? So we're thinking December 1st, remote learning start. A couple of other things that we're looking at, and this, again, these are all talking points for you guys. I think we really need a half day planning time in a remote schedule. We can talk about, remember over the summer I brought up a 4.5 day week. We decided against it, go with the current calendar that we had. Well, that's showing signs of fatigue. Okay, so we got to re-talk a couple of things here. First is just the remote piece. Kids are done. Kids are pretty fried out by Friday afternoon. That's the perfect time to do planning, not on a Monday. Okay, Monday, when we had it last spring, we didn't start till the Tuesday. It's very counterintuitive You feel fatigue at the end of the week, not at the start of the week. I get it. Get ready on a Monday for the week. Instead, we should be getting ready Friday afternoon for the week. That's just one idea. I don't think we want to go to a 4-day remote week. Mr. Todd's been doing 5 days, and Miss Jill, and I think 4.5 seems to be about the sweet spot. So that's an idea. And it just gives time for the leads to plan that afternoon, get some things done. We can always have some assistance available on a Friday afternoon to support families if needed. Remember, we have 2 adults in every class. So especially for remote, we have that. But after staring at a screen for an entire week, everyone's about toast, okay? Believe me, this job has switched from 2-3 hours of emails a day to 7 to 8, and then all the other work you got to do. No one likes to stare at a screen, okay? In preschool, we have about 41 preschoolers. 35 have responded. Parents have responded to our survey. There's about 3 or 4 that want to do remote as preschool. About 31 as of yesterday, it might be a little higher, 32 want to do in person. They're committed that if we open the doors on the 30th, they will come. We also have 6 assistants, and we have a couple of floaters. So we got lots of staff, but we got to figure out what staff feels comfortable doing what in this shift of programming. So that's the work next week. We don't have all the answers on that. The other thing is we've worked all fall of trying to set up aftercare. Really hard to employ people for a couple hours in a high-risk environment every day. So it was really we just never got there, but we are ready. It'll take some planning this next week. We're thinking of a school-age day camp plan, as long as it's considered childcare. And we're thinking, since Lori, for example, 8 hours, she can run about a 6-7 hour program at the most, because you have, after 6 o'clock, if someone's late, she's still on the clock. You got to get things set up. She has employees already kind of lined up. So this is just a draft. We can't do a 6 to 6 program. That's just, we don't have the staff capacity for that. But what this does is that says, okay, families, your kid will do their core work in the morning online. You could bring them. Again, we want families that need 4 to 5 day a week support. We might be able to extend the hours. We'll see. I don't know yet what our capacities are. That depends on who's available. If we could do a 10 to 6, things like that. So they start the remote learning. They would have to finish their remote learning once here. And so we got to figure out spacing and all that stuff. And then they become kind of a cohort themselves, because if it's a drop-in program, yeah, we might get shut down, 2-3 days in, then you're shutting the whole program down. So it's got to be a dedicated group of families, 4 or 5 days a week. This is a new cohort. We could have a couple of them, one in the gym, maybe art room, some different places. Max capacity might be 30 kids. You can see our fee structure there. We charge about $15 for 3 hours after school. So if you double that, it's about $30 a day. So that's some ways we could address this. Special education is going to have to decide which students need to learn in person. That's kind of a federal requirement on us, is that we cannot, even during a pandemic at this point, if we feel instructional services in person are the best, we'll do our best to meet that, as long as it's safe and for everyone involved. So we will do that case by case through the SPED team. ESL, READ Act, all that stuff can be done remotely. So we're fine there. Yeah, there's a lot of bases to cover. So that's the heart of it. If you think about January, we come back, we have an in-service day on the 5th, which is a Tuesday. The district's somewhere in there is planning to return to in-person, but again, the data set has got to be there, that the confidence, again, confidence in that the pandemic's flatlining, maybe trending down. Remember, we started the school year at under 5% positivity rates, like 4 and some change. Look at us now. I don't know where it's going. I don't know if it's going 15, 16, 20%. We will find out. So we got to check the positivity rates, the metrics. Again, health of staff capacity is the biggest piece of coming back in person here at MPA. So I'm thinking we're going to need some data check-ins along the way. I was talking to Jack a little bit about this. Maybe through December, I can shoot him information. Maybe we can quickly convene and just kind of always have the state of the world, so to speak. How's the staff doing? What's the data telling us? How's this, how are students doing? How are families doing? I think we just have to be much more tapped in as a board and as a school than ever before. So that's what I have.
Well, first of all, speaking for everybody, thank you for all of the obvious effort that went into this and all the planning that you do and all the stuff that we don't see on a regular basis. So, and you and I talked yesterday, so I'm going to let other people ask questions or give thoughts before chiming in.
I have a question, and I think I know the answer, but I think it's important that our community hears. Part of our Montessori curriculum is mixed in with primaries. My understanding, Mr. Bryan, and just correct me if I'm wrong, is that our 3s and 4s operate under childcare licensing, so that's why we're able to keep them open.
Correct.
Is there any way to try to keep kinders together, or is that just not an option due to our licensing?
It's possible, but the data doesn't show it. There's been a huge spike in COVID cases across the entire district in the kindergarten age group.
Okay.
I know I've thought long and hard about it. What will probably happen is we'll wind up quarantining groups and bouncing groups in and out. I talked to one staff member this morning already from that team. And the hard part this last week is in the kinder data set is how many kids we're sending back and forth all the time.
Okay.
So I think let's just keep it clean because again, we need our staff healthy, and we can remote for 3. Again, if we take a planning day, it's 14 days. Now, there's no guarantee we're coming back in January, but it's 14 days. That's the selling point. Let's give our preschool a test run and see how it goes. So,
okay. All right. Thank you.
We as a board can reverse order of this at any time. If the data starts to flatline and we're feeling confident mid-December to come back in person, like I said, but boy, the metrics would really have to be there that this is good for everybody.
Thank you. I also think if parents are watching, it's important to remind everyone as a charter, we do have some flexibility, but we can't defy health orders and that kind of thing. So,
and defy logic and reason at this point too. So.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So I have a question just to clarify what we need to decide today. It seems like for the most part, staying in person next week is a given. And the big question is whether or not we stay in person on Friday, right? That seems to be the question. And then whatever happens after, we can talk about on Tuesday at our normal board meeting. Is that kind of the big question today?
We the 30th as a pivot day or November 20th as a pivot day.
I almost feel like it would be helpful with families that are trying to plan if we could make the decisions about what's happening next week and Friday, and then what our approach is through month end.
Yes. And that's, thank you, Becky. That's really why we called this. When Brian and I talked yesterday, the question was, can we just push this all off till the meeting on Tuesday? And the reality is, if you go till the meeting on Tuesday night, then you really don't get stuff out till Wednesday for people. Whereas now Brian could send something out and say, okay, here's what we're going to do through the end of the year, or at least, at least after Thanksgiving, you can plan for how that's going to work. And we just thought that was a little bit, it's only a few days, but people need it. And I think so that's, Brian, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's kind of what we decided, right?
Yeah. I want to give parents as much time as possible. Secondly, there's so many things to think through, and we have all next week. Like I said, next week's going to be bumpy. There's probably going to be kids out, teachers out, possibly some quarantine classes coming because we're waiting for a bunch of tests to come back at this point, which may drop this weekend. Again, we have to have these letters ready. We're working through the weekends most of the time just to be trying to get the doors open on a Monday. So in person's not a piece of cake, let me tell you, by any means. But there's remote. No one likes remote, but being in person is a 7-day-a-week gig. It's not as simple as people think.
So in my mind, I'm kind of hearing that we need to parse it out in like 3 pieces. What do we do for our next week and the float day? What do we want to do between now and year end? And then what do we want to do about the after school program? Because it does sound like there's a decision that needs to be made there if we're going to try to move forward with doing something with that through December before Christmas break.
Right. Kind of 3 chunks. Very good.
I have a question then for Robin. I know that at the beginning of the meeting, the sort of consensus, it sounds like from the staff, is they wanted Friday for kind of a pivot day. But do you think, Robin, that the 30th would work? I mean, do you think that pivot day would be acceptable to the staff?
Yeah, I think that the pivot day makes a lot of sense from the perspective of, talking with Brian over the last couple of days and hearing how difficult Mondays are to know who is going to be in the building and staffing in that perspective. I might wonder on the other end, though, if teachers are kind of A-type personalities and like to have their ducks in a row before they can actually take a vacation. So I don't really know. I can't speak for the entire staff on that one because I didn't know that the pivot day was even a possibility. Obviously, the staff hadn't heard that. But I really think what I'm hearing is they just need a planning day. So I know my perspective, it doesn't matter to me which day it would be, but I don't know the staff's perspective on that.
Thank you.
It's going to be mixed. It'll be a split. So.
As I would, to piggyback off of what Becky was saying a little bit, I appreciate, Brian, your setting kind of like the dates or cutoff dates where people could come back so that there was some kind of planning and surety. I think it's important for us to be careful that we all want to be back in person as soon as possible. From my perspective, I want to get the kids back in as soon as possible, but it's just not feasible. We have staff, we have that real concern, logistics, health. We also have parents' logistics side as well. They can't be, I'm not going to work. I'm staying home with my kids and I'm working till midnight. Oh, now I am going to work. It's the same with staff as it is with parents. I think we're all in the same boat in that sense. Parents are parents first, and then teachers. We're parents, and then our profession as well. So I would probably err on the side of, let's just kind of understand that from my perspective, we're not going to be coming back in December. I mean, those are kind of, if we can have some clarity and some surety instead of making a decision week by week, I think that helps it. I would think that would help you and the staff plan. It would help parents plan. Yet with the goal of, let's have these dates where we will reassess as we go. But it is just everybody. It's just a nightmare for everybody. It's an impossible situation. And so the most we can do to provide some kind of structure in a crazy world, I think would be my preference. Put that out there.
No, I agree.
Hey, Brian, can you scroll back down to kind of the proposal?
Sure. I think it's ironic that Jack's in a bunker and I'm talking about hurricanes. So
If you look outside, you can see there's a hurricane about a minute ago.
I know. I thought when the video first came on, I thought I looked like the Unabomber in here or something. But
yeah, we can just keep in mind, just to Brittany's point, schools traditionally always start pretty quickly after a holiday. So that's what makes this Thanksgiving week so hard, is how would know as a staff that we're ready for in-person on the 30th of November. The same goes for, and it's not as bad, for January. January 4th is a non-contact day. That's a Monday. Tuesday, January 5th, has been scheduled as an in-service or a furlough day, and then in-person starts Wednesday the 6th. That's the calendar we approved. It gives us a little bit of a runway for parents, but I have to tell you, Amy and I will have to be checking in right after the first of the year, after New Year's. What is our data? What's the health and well-being of the staff? Where are we at? We'll probably be listening to Jeffco telling us what they're thinking probably through that holiday. So there's an alertness that'll be part of the winter break, because I don't want to tell parents the night of the 5th that they're doing remote on the 6th. Okay. So that's maybe before Christmas, the data shows there's no way that we can come back on the 6th. I don't know, but it is so, I don't have a plan on when I'm going to know to tell you what January 6th is, a go or no go. So we're just gonna have to wait and see, but that's the date we're going to have to publish.
on the other hand, there is going to be a little bit of reality setting in. Once we go remote, unless people see numbers dramatically changing in December, I think we're going to be able to see which way the wind is blowing.
We have
pretty safe.
Sorry,
go ahead. I think Jeffco's going to go remote when we return in January for a while. I do, but.
And again, they have a lot more staff looking at this. They're on the inside conversations with the governor, not me. So we're always just a step behind of the data. So I still think it's very reasonable to say we'll do our best to return as scheduled in January.
Yeah.
We have our December general board meeting, which is like the 7th or 15th or some mid-December. And that might be a great time just to do something similar to what we're doing now as part of our agenda, and just get a check-in. And then that's ahead of the winter break, and maybe can provide some clarity then. It's a full month from now.
Okay.
That's already built in. So.
And that gives parents, that gives parents time to financially plan how they're going to cover the costs of childcare during those hours come January. Maybe everyone can kind of plan that from now till the end of the year, and then in December we give them a couple weeks to kind of figure out, how they're going to do that.
Right. Yeah, go ahead and talk. We appreciate your guidance here, and I'll formulate communications to the staff and community this weekend.
All right. Do we have? Oh, sorry, Lisa.
No, you're fine. I just
Stepping on you.
No, you're fine. I think Brittany touched on this, but we, as myself, we know this is a challenge to parents. That's not lost in any of this. I'm going to say I feel that most of the board members might agree with that, but we understand this is taxing on everyone, teachers, staff, children, parents. So I just want to make sure we've considered every angle, which I know we have, but I think it's important to note. I'm done. You can talk.
All right. Do we need further discussion, or should we try to put a little bit of a closure to this, at least with respect to the pivot day and the plan after Thanksgiving?
Yeah, I'd like some more discussion about the day camp issue, but the other one,
I think the day camp we don't need to decide that today. We could easily push that to Tuesday.
Correct. Yeah, we need more on it anyway.
Yeah.
You know, unless you want to spend the rest of your Saturday morning talking about this.
We're all going to be spending the rest of the day planning anyway. Setting up our own schools in our homes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got a bunker here, so
Yeah.
you're all welcome. Okay. So anybody want to
Move to vote?
move to vote?
Can we start with the pivot date and decide if it's going to be Friday or Monday? Because I don't know which one we're voting on, Friday or Monday. I'm leaning towards Monday personally, because I do like the idea of finishing out the week as in person and then having that day before. But I don't know what others are thinking, or if that honors the teachers.
Becky, the 20th or the 30th? I don't have a calendar in front of me. Which day is the Monday, the 20th or the 30th?
The 30th.
Okay,
The Monday's
thank
the
you.
30th. Yeah,
Okay,
Monday, so
thanks.
the Monday after Thanksgiving
Got it.
versus the Friday before.
And I agree with that, Becky. I think it makes sense. It gives the day for the parents, and you know, all things being equal, I'm always going to defer to what Robin says with respect to whether it will honor the interests of the parents, and I'm also going to defer to Brian's thought on when makes the most sense for him with respect to staffing issues and things. So I think that makes the most sense, and it gives parents, you know, heck, an extra day after the holidays. So
I agree.
Brian, does the 30th give you a chance of maybe getting a break over Thanksgiving break? Or are you not going to get one, or?
Well, to me, what's more important is it's real hard to turn the switch on the 30th if I don't have all staff healthy. What the 30th does for me, and I guess I'm being selfish, I can figure out who's ready to turn the remote switch as a staff, who's not. Then we go to assistance if the lead is not available. Hey, are you comfortable running this? Oh, you're not? Okay. Who can help out? I just kind of feel logistically, the 30th makes sense in my brain. To a teacher's brain, that's very different. I do have to say. They let things kind of, you know, they would like to, I would think half the staff would love the 20th, the other half would love the 30th. Doesn't matter on me. I got to be down here on the 23rd anyway. We got Windows Meet installed, so.
Yeah, I think Brian is exactly correct. I think half the staff would be fine, or would want one thing, and half the staff would want the other thing. Honestly, as I think through it, it does give, I mean, I don't want to be working on my Thanksgiving break, but it does give me that extra time if I need to be, instead of trying to rush it all in on that Friday. But like Brian said, I think it's a toss-up. So from the administrative perspective, I can see where that would be a wiser choice to do it on the 30th.
It also gives one last day of in-person learning, which I think we all agree is the most valuable.
That's what the roundtable said. Every day is a gift.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
anyone want to make a motion on that?
Sure. I move that we vote on making November 30th the pivot day for staff, and that November 20th stays an in-person day for students.
Second?
Roll call. Jack Llewellyn.
Yes.
Brandon Smith.
Yes.
Brittany Horseman.
Yes.
Lisa Myers. Yes. Christina Grant.
Yes.
Beth McDonald.
Yes.
Becky
Ready.
Springsteen.
Yes.
And Robin Morrissey.
Yes.
That motion passes. November 30th as a pivot, and keep November 20th in person.
Okay, and so then I guess step 2 here is whether or not we agree that post Thanksgiving through planned days in December are going to be remote learning in accord with the Jeffco policy or Jeffco plan. Is that right?
Mhm.
Can we include whether or not we're going to do the Friday half day in this discussion? And the only reason I say to discuss that now is as parents line out what they're going to do for childcare, Friday may become less important to have an in-person facilitator assisting their children. You know, just thinking myself personally, if Monday through Thursday become the longer days, those become more important to ensure that there's something supporting that during the day. Friday may become less important. So I think that would be important to understand early as a parent trying to plan.
I think that makes a lot of sense, particularly since it's for the month of December, which is now, basically now.
Or we can wrap it into, if somebody wanted to make a motion that says that we go remote and that the remote schedule is Monday through Friday noon with a Friday afternoon off, we could do that as well.
Yeah.
With the exception of the week of November 30th.
Right.
That'll be a fun one. Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. We don't have to do that on that week because we took Monday. So.
Jack and everybody, I apologize. I need to get my kids. I'm already a half hour late, and I need to pick them up. The person can't have them any longer. So, Jack, you have my proxy. I really apologize to everybody.
That's fine. We understand.
I'll leave the meeting going so everyone else can continue. Apologize.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay, so
All
the
right.
motion would be that we would follow Jeffco for the month of December, with the exception of Friday afternoons, that we would do 4 full days, Monday through Thursday, and then a half day on Friday.
For a
Correct.
teacher planning period. Yeah.
For a teacher planning period. Okay. I move that we vote in favor, or however you'd like to vote for that.
Question, do we have any concerns? Does that impact our instructional hours at all?
Since Jeffco is already modifying their schedule, they're going to have to do a waiver. We can just get on the coattails of the waiver. We'll actually have more contact hours than them because they even adopted part of our schedule, which is changing the winter break. They gave extra days off to students and more planning days for teachers. So I think we're going to be fine.
Okay.
It keeps our contact days, because we still have Friday as a contact day, correct, Minister Brown?
Yeah, still a contact day. And like I said, we can still provide maybe assistance helping out or something. If we feel this is a long-term thing and we feel it's going to, again, we're talking 3 weeks right now. If we feel this is a long-term thing in January, we can figure out extra ways to do contact time on those Fridays to keep us in check.
And again, as you said, Brian, that I think is important, nothing that we're doing right now has to be set in stone. We want to give parents as much advance notice on things, but we have flexibility if circumstances change, if we need more time or whatever.
Well, and with my experience with remote learning, my school day does not always perfectly match
Right.
the school day. So, yeah.
Right. Exactly.
So Lisa, do you have the motion from relatively well?
I think so. So Beth, I'm just going to restate your motion and then I'll ask for a second. So we are moving that we move to remote learning for the month of December with Monday through Thursday as full days and Friday as a half day, in accordance with Jeffco's current plan. Is that accurate?
With the exception of the week of November 30th.
With the exception of the week of November 30th, where that Monday will be a plan day.
Second.
Okay.
Thank you, Christina.
All right. Roll call. Jack Llewellyn.
Yes.
Brandon Smith.
Yes.
Brittany Horseman is left. Jack, do you have a proxy?
Yes.
Okay. Lisa Myers, yes. Christina Grant.
Yes.
Beth McDonald.
Yes.
Becky Springstead.
Yes.
And Robin Morrissey.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
And then
So-
Brian, is there anything else that we have to decide for you today, as opposed to
The only-
moving it over to Monday or Tuesday? I mean,
No, I mean, the decision to start preschool on the 30th, I don't know if that's a vote. We can talk about that Tuesday. We just need all next week to get it dialed, but I do want to advertise to parents what's available. So that one's a pretty big moving piece. The rest is all, again, the school age day camp thing. After Tuesday, we'll try to, whatever we decide Tuesday night, we can advertise that Wednesday to parents. That's still a whole nother week and a half of getting that built for parents. I wish I could give them more, but I just got to make sure Lori's and we got our licensing all dialed in on that on a short turnaround.
well, then do we want to go ahead and vote on the preschool now?
We could, yes, yes.
I don't think that's going to be controversial. Does anybody want to have a comment on that?
No, I think as long as we have the staffing to support it, it sounded like that was the only concern. But I think we would approve it, or I would approve it if it's something that we can build.
Yeah, so we approve it subject to, change in Brian's discretion if staffing issues become, problematic. But
Yeah.
that'd be up to him going forward.
Okay. Yep, that'll be the in-person plan. Okay, I'm
Do
great.
we have a motion on that from somebody?
I move we keep preschool in person beginning November 30th per Brian's proposal.
I second.
All right. Last vote. Here we go. Jack Llewellyn.
Yes.
Brandon Smith.
Yes.
Do you have a Brittany proxy, Jack, by chance?
Just abstain on that one.
I will do. Okay. Lisa Myers, yes. Christina Grant.
Yes.
Beth McDonald.
Yes.
Becky Springstead.
Yes.
And Robin Morrissey.
Yes.
All right. That one passes as well.
And a question for preparing for Tuesday night's meeting, if there's anything, supplies or other support from the staff's perspective to help keep our staff healthy and safe. I know like getting wipes in the classroom, right? The Clorox wipes have been, a challenge. If there are things like that we could learn about and help try to figure out a way to support keeping our staff healthy.
Okay. We will see where we're at with that. We're doing really well. But I'll talk with Amy and Danny, see what we know about that.
All right, Mr. Bryan, from your perspective, anything else that we need to talk about today?
No, we'll circle back around. Lots to talk about on Tuesday. So thank you for your time on Saturday. I'll craft up a parent message this weekend and a staff message. There's some things I got to get done today. It might get out later today, if not early tomorrow. So, okay.
All right. Thank you,
Thanks, Brian.
everybody, for your time and interest in Robin. Communicate back to the staff as you see appropriate that we appreciated all of their comments, and we remain committed to doing everything we possibly can to supporting Brian and the staff and the teachers, and our appreciation runs very deep, even if they don't necessarily see it every day.
I think that they're well aware that they are supported by this board.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Robin. Thank you, all of you.
Have a good Saturday.
I move we
All
adjourn.
right.
Sorry, Christina.